Mark's watching for making the cut. Washington Wizards probably only have one game left in their season. They've been overwhelmed by the Philadelphia 76ers, and rightfully so. The 76ers are a lot more talented than the Wizards, and now the question will become, as soon as Washington gets eliminated, what's next? What has the failure been? How can you fix this roster? And the question is very, very complicated. David Aldridge of the Athletic did this great job. He had an article the other day talking about how Memphis and Atlanta built as opposed to how Washington built, and how Memphis and Atlanta have stuff that's sustainable. They're built around defense. They have young, exciting talent in both cases, whereas Washington decided to do what they've done under Ted Leonsis way too much, is, plug in a veteran here, plug in a veteran there. Hey, bring in veterans. There's never been a true patient rebuild here in Washington under Ted Leonsis. But that's not what I want to address today. I want to address a different part of Ted Leonsis' perception of failure, which is, why in all this time hasn't Leonsis developed a firm, fixed Washington Wizards fan base? That's been his biggest failure. And that's saying a lot, considering how long he stayed with Ernie Grunfeld. That has been his biggest failure. Now, he did it somewhat with the Washington Capitals. I always think that Abe Poland doesn't get enough credit for that too. Moving to a downtown arena also, even though there's a lot of concerns from Caps fans when he moved down there, that has also played into the success of that firm, fixed fan base. I know this because, as strange as this may sound, long before Ovechkin was in Washington, I was a Washington Capitals season ticket holder. So yes, I made the trips out to Landover. I made the trips downtown when I was still a season ticket holder. I've been going to hockey games in Washington, in Maryland, since I think I went to see my first in 1985 when I was a teenager. So I know how Washington Capitals fans felt when Abe Poland was the owner, that Abe only cared about his NBA team. This is the irony behind all this. And then when they moved downtown, I heard all the concerns of the area of the city that the arena was in, and how Caps fans were concerned in this and that. It's all worked out. It's all worked out. And Ted Leonsis went and took what Abe had laid and has developed it all the way out. We have not seen that with the Washington Wizards. We have not seen the dedication to the fan base, to growing and developing and sustaining. There's this thing that he thinks that, well, if we make the playoffs every year and maybe we look up, we get to the Eastern Conference semifinals, and maybe one year the Eastern Conference finals, that's going to make people come. That will make people come in that time period. It's not sustainable unless you have an identity with the community, and the Washington Wizards do not have that, and that is squarely on the owner. Because I know the players are out there in the community. The owner has to show that he cares as much as the players care. If Ted Leonsis is not going to show that he's investing his heart, it's more than money. It's not about the money. It's not about saying, oh, will he go into the luxury tax? Will he not go into the luxury tax? That's not what it's about. Ted Leonsis has not shown that he is willing to invest his heart into this team. So now the perception all these years later is, well, Leonsis only cares about his hockey team. He doesn't care about the Wizards. Whether this is true or not, people say he doesn't care about the Wizards. Why do you think he kept Ernie Grunfeld for so long, just to save a dime, even though Ernie was incredibly inefficient? So you want it to change for the Washington Wizards? Yes, there is a winning component. They do have to win. But if you want it to be sustainable, you have to show that you're putting your heart and your emotion in it before the fans do. How are you going to get consumers to come out to a product that they feel like the owner doesn't care about? That's where Ted Leonsis has failed. He has failed to show in one of the most basketball-rich areas. And the DMV, let's not get it twisted. The DMV is a basketball area. It's not a Washington Wizards area. When I hear people say, oh, well, it's not a basketball town. No, that's not true. It's not Washington Wizards town. There's a huge, huge difference. Huge difference. It is a basketball town. They're just waiting for Ted Leonsis to show that he cares about basketball. And when he shows that he cares about basketball beyond just getting the 8th seed, beyond just bringing in another veteran, that he truly wants to build something sustainable, like we've seen in other cities, people will come, trust me. Because here's the great thing about the Caps. Yes, the Caps have won the Stanley Cup. They've been to 2, one with Abe, one with Ted, and they won a Stanley Cup. But the team and the sustainability of the local fan base was there before they won it, because they had cultivated that. And now that Washington has not won a playoff series since then, and they fired their coach. Well, they didn't fire him. They didn't re-sign Barry Trotz. And they haven't won since then. But it doesn't matter, because they've cultivated a loyal fan base that you don't have to win it every year for them to be there. That arena is always going to be rocking for the next umpteen years, because it's about more than just winning a title. It's about building something that people want to attach themselves to and care about. And Ted Leonsis has not built that with the Washington Wizards. And that's shame on him. This is on Ted Leonsis. Beyond winning, beyond keeping Ernie too long, beyond whatever failed draft picks there have been, so on and so forth. Man, dude, you look like the only thing you're doing is trying to game the system by marketing. Oh, and then we're going to bring in a bunch of international players. That'll help in Dallas. Dallas's international players are wildly talented. Show that you care. Mark Cuban has for years shown that he cares about the Dallas Mavericks. Show that you care, Ted. When you show that you care, people in the DMV, they'll show that they care too.